You remember that famous movie, right? The one where crying in space somehow beats quantum physics? Where secret codes are sent through black holes into bookshelves? Yeah, I'm talking about Interstellar. Now take that movie and throw it into the deepest, darkest dumpster of your mind. Because space is not some fairy tale where love conquers all. Tears don't save the world. Space is dark. It's freezing. It is an airless, massive graveyard ready to tear you apart the second you show weakness. It is absolute nothingness that will freeze your blood and burst your lungs. Today we are talking about a masterpiece that completely destroys that romantic Hollywood space garbage, Project Hail Mary. But wait, this is not just another survival in space story. If that's what you expect, you're in the wrong place. This is a ticket to the absolute collapse of the human mind, the claustrophobic, suffocating horror of amnesia, and the psychological autopsy of a man clinging to the cold, hard reality of science just to keep from going insane. But I have to give you a serious warning right at the start. At the very end of this video, we are going to meticulously decode the disgusting secret that is revealed when Ryland Grace's lost memory finally returns. I am going to throw one of the most sickening, selfish, and dark flaws of human nature right in your face. When you hear that detail, you will never look at the words heroism, sacrifice, or courage the same way again. Wait for that moment. Everything you thought you knew will be shattered, and your blood will run cold. This is Scene Atlas. If you are still floating on those pink clouds of love saves the world, close this video right now. Get out. But if you are ready to descend into the darkness, the rational reality, and the sick, decaying corridors of human psychology, subscribe to the channel because the real nightmare begins now. You open your eyes. There are thick tubes piercing your skin. You don't know where you are. You can't even remember your own name. Your mind is a massive void. You look to your right, a corpse. You look to your left, another rotting corpse, filling the air with the sickening stench of death. And you are flying at millions of miles per hour inside a metal coffin, right in the middle of infinite nothingness. Destination unknown. This is the exact hell Ryland Grace wakes up in. In Interstellar, Matthew McConaughey went to space leaving a crying daughter behind, fueled by epic music and heroic speeches. Very epic, isn't it? That's exactly what Hollywood wants you to swallow. Grace, on the other hand, is a helpless piece of meat with a shattered mind, who can't even spell his own name. The movie asks us the most brutal question. If we strip away your past, your identity, and your memories, what is left of you? The only thing left of Grace from that wreckage is his analytical, mathematical, almost sick intellect. He is on the verge of a panic attack. His heartbeat is deafening. He is right on the edge of total madness. So what does he do? Does he curl up in a corner and cry? Does he curse his fate? No. With a tiny pendulum in his hand, he calculates the acceleration of gravity, trying to pull his mind out of that dark pit. Because every swing of that pendulum is the thin line between insanity and genius. This is where the true horror of Project Hail Mary lies. There is no room for emotions here. If you cry, you die. If you make a mistake, you die. Your tears have zero mathematical value in this vacuum. The only way to survive is to leave your humanity and your emotions behind, and turn into a pure, cold, and flawless algorithm. But that's not the main point. The creepier, more insidious part is this. While Grace is crushed to dust under the crushing weight of isolation, his own mind starts playing tricks on him. Fragments of memory bleed into his consciousness like traumatic nightmares. The sun is dimming. Earth is freezing to death. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees people tearing each other apart from starvation, a planet plunging into darkness. And this man waking up is the last hope of those billions of screaming people. Can you imagine the psychological weight of that burden? The silent screams of billions of people echoing in the vacuum of space, and he is the only one who can hear them. Every move, every step Grace takes inside that tiny spaceship injects a claustrophobic sense of suffocation into the viewer. Those metal walls feel like they are closing in with every breath. The inside of the ship is less like a lab and more like a sophisticated tomb. Oxygen is limited, food is limited, and worst of all, time is running out. This is not a fun space adventure, my friends. This is a survival simulation inside a boiling coffin at 380 Kelvin, surrounded by deadly radiation on the outside, all while trying not to lose your mind. Right at this moment, as his brain is about to shut down from the isolation, something happens. He realizes that in this massive void, in the dark, he is not alone. Another ship, Another alien intelligence, Rocky. Many movie critics will interpret this as a cute alien friendship, a story of universal brotherhood. What a shallow, sickening perspective. Calling this friendship is as ignorant as calling Stockholm Syndrome true love. The relationship here is nothing but a cosmic trauma bond. Two desperate organisms, forced to cling to each other on the absolute brink of extinction. The communication between Grace and Rocky looks absolutely nothing like those love transcends dimensions messages from the bookshelf in Interstellar. Here, there are thick xenonite walls between them. There is invisible, lethal radiation. There is no common language, no common culture, not even a common face. To communicate, they have to weaponize musical notes, the periodic table, and pure, ruthless mathematics. This is a mind-melting exercise that exhausts even the viewer's brain. Grace's mind is already shattered by loneliness, and now he faces a faceless, five-armed spider made of rock that speaks in musical chords. It doesn't even have eyes. You can't even tell if it's looking at you. Who wouldn't go insane? A normal person would lose their mind the second they saw what was behind that wall. But this is where the character depth that Scene Atlas worships comes into play. Grace survives because of that rational, mechanical symbiosis he builds with Rocky. Instead of an emotional bond, we are watching the data exchange of two biological machines, two corrupted codes programmed to survive. And trust me, this is the most realistic, the coldest, and the most disturbing first contact scenario in cinema history. Now, take a deep breath, put down your coffee, because we are now entering the real dark zone. The part your mind won't like very much. But before we go there, if you are still watching this video, it means you have an analytical mind, very different from the average popcorn-eating moviegoer. I know how sick you are of shallow analyses and superficial copy-paste reviews. If your mind can handle this darkness, this brutal critique, then this is exactly where you belong. Go down right now and crush that subscribe button. Turn on the bell icon. Because while the YouTube algorithm does everything it can to numb your brain and feed you popular trash, we are here digging through the psychological dungeons, the dark basements of real cinema. If you've joined us, let's continue. Let's get to that mind-blowing detail I promised you at the beginning. The final, fatal scratch on Ryland Grace's mind. The locked door at the very bottom of his memory. Grace slowly begins to remember that his mission is a suicide run. There is no coming back. It's a one-way ticket. He will send the data to Earth, and then he will slowly die of starvation and isolation in that dark, freezing vacuum of space, all alone. This process of acceptance is the most ruthless manifestation of the famous 5 stages of grief, floating in space. But the truly sickening part isn't the suicide mission itself. When that final lock in Grace's memory is opened, the horrifying, pathetic truth hits us like an ice-cold slap in the face. Grace wasn't a hero. He didn't want to go to space. He was a coward. An ordinary coward trying to survive, putting his own life above everything else. He never had a noble goal like saving the world or bringing hope to humanity. He was just a selfish man running away from responsibility, wanting to stay in his safe little classroom. Remember that flashback scene? When Eva Strat told him he had to go, that they had no other choice. How did Grace beg? He fell to his knees. He cried. He screamed, "You can't send me to die. I don't want to die." Vomiting out the pathetic, miserable survival instinct of humanity in all its nakedness. And what did Strat do? Did she pin a medal of heroism on his chest? Did she pat him on the back? No. She forcibly drugged him. She captured him like an animal against his will, stuffed him into that ship, and launched him into the depths of space. This is the terrifying paradox that shatters the viewer's mind. The epic courage we watch Grace display throughout the movie was actually just a byproduct of his amnesia, an illusion. Because he forgot his past, because he forgot what a massive coward he truly was, he was able to wear a hero costume on that ship. His mind built him a fake identity just to survive this massive trauma. And when his memory fully returns, he is left completely alone, face to face with that disgusting coward inside him, staring at his selfish, dark reflection. This is exactly what separates Project Hail Mary from the fake holiness and plastic feel of Interstellar. Humans are not born heroes. Humans are selfish. Human nature is cowardly. People will break every moral rule if it means surviving. Grace was a victim, forced to be a hero. A pawn trapped in his own mind, forced to confront his own cowardice billions of miles away in deep space. The moment you realize this, the entire movie changes. It shifts from a simple epic of salvation into an inescapable psychological torture chamber. And at the end of the movie, when he gives up on Earth and turns back to save Rocky, was that truly a noble sacrifice? Or was it an entirely selfish decision made by a highly intelligent man who knew he couldn't return to Earth, who knew he would die anyway, just to escape that freezing loneliness and maddening silence in space? I want you to think about this. Weigh it in your mind. That thin, sick, invisible line between pure madness and supreme heroism. Project Hail Mary is a masterpiece that proves just how deadly silent space is, and how incredibly noisy and chaotic the wreckage of the human mind truly is. In this cold, rational hell where Ryland Grace is trapped, there is no hope. There are no fairy tales about love. There is only math, physical terror, and the most primal survival instinct. What would you do? That dark moment you remember you were drugged and forced onto that ship against your will. What would you do to keep from losing your mind? To keep from smashing your head against those walls? Speaking of claustrophobia in space, narrow corridors, and absolute despair, believe me, the hell Ryland Grace went through feels like an innocent walk in a sunny park compared to the cold, silent hell of the legendary Alien movie, where no one can hear you scream. Think about the rusty, blood-scented, claustrophobic corridors of the Nostromo. Do you have the courage to face not only a perfect killing machine with acid for blood in the dark depths of space, but also the cold-blooded corporate psychology that views you as a disposable test subject, a piece of meat? Are you ready to watch how a human becomes a helpless prey in that freezing vacuum? If your mind and nervous system can handle that much, I can open that rusty door to hell wide open for you. Go down below, crush that like button, and tell me clearly in the comments that you want that darkness. If I see that you have enough courage, if you are ready for this challenge, I will open the doors to that sick space prison in the next video. Till then, stay in the dark.